Alright, whenever you're ready.
Okay, hi everybody. Today I'm going to present to you on how all-girls schools can provide a solution and help close the gender gap. So middle school is a notoriously difficult time for everyone, and my experience was no exception. I went from being a really happy, bubbly fourth grader to a fifth grade middle schooler student who was so shy and self-conscious and had such low self-esteem that I did not participate in class at all. That year, I applied to Castellana School, which is an all-girls school just down the street from here, and it completely changed my educational experience and gave me so much more self-confidence, and I was basically just like immersed in this culture of female empowerment. And even though I was only there for 2 years before my family moved away, I feel like it really affected me and my identity and the way that I think of myself and the way I think of women in general. And so reflecting on this experience kind of made me wonder, could all girls benefit from the option of going to an all-girls school, and is this all-girls school kind of better for girls' development as a rule? So what started out as a simple comparison of the pros and cons of all-girls schools turned into an investigation of the huge gender gap that exists in our education and our society and careers today, and how all-girls schools can provide a solution to help close this gender gap a little bit, or a lot. So today I'm going to first touch on the fact that there is a gender gap and describe the statistics to you a little bit, and then provide 2 ways in which all-girls schools can help close this gender gap. And the 2 ways are by countering the low self-esteem that girls experience during adolescence, as well as providing a totally girl-focused education. So first of all, when I was telling some of my friends about my research, one of her first reactions was, wait, there's a gender gap in the United States? And it surprised me at first too, until I started doing my research. But as I shared with you guys last week, only 25% of STEM jobs are held by, only 25% of women have STEM jobs. No, only 25% of STEM jobs are held by women. And you can see this huge difference between normal non-STEM careers and then STEM jobs. This is men, this is female. That's a huge difference. And then within those STEM jobs, women only earn 86% of what their male counterparts earn, which is also, and this is also just shows non-STEM jobs. So there's it's a really big problem with this huge gender gap in careers today and wages. And some people might argue that this is because of a biological basis, that there's a difference between male and female brains, that maybe men are just better at math, which could be, but there was a recent study that disproved this, that showed that in the countries that are most egalitarian between men and women, that have the lowest level of gender equality, so in this case it's Turkey, it has if this is the gender equality, it has the lowest, it has the highest test score difference in math between boys and girls. So you can just see this trend that more gender equality basically means smaller gender gap, and whereas Iceland is the extreme example where they basically have an egalitarian society in terms of viewing men and women, and the gender math gap is reversed, where girls actually outperform boys, which shows that in the whole nature versus nurture environment, it has everything to do with argument has everything to do with environment, or in other words, nurture. So that shows that it's in our power to close this gender gap, that it's something that we control, and so how can we go about doing this? And I'd like to propose all-girls schools as a solution to this. So it turns out that the low self-esteem that I suffered when I was 10 years old was not unique, and research shows that girls suffer lower self-esteem crises than boys do. And there was a survey done by a group called the American Association for University Women in the 1990s, and the percentage of girls who agreed with the statement, "I'm happy the way I am," decreased dramatically between elementary school and high school. And it decreased for boys as well, sadly, but it was definitely more pronounced for girls. And this surrounded by misleading images depicting what girls should look like and their place in society compared to men, it's no wonder that girls grow up feeling this is a really unhealthy environment for girls to grow up in. And you can see here from these advertisements are all very real and modern, and they're totally terrible, and they all contribute to girls' lower sense of self-esteem. And you can picture like the herds of 7th grade girls that you see wandering around the mall with pounds of makeup on their face, and it's easy to kind of laugh at them, but if you think about it, it's really sad that they are going to all this effort just because they care so much about what boys think of them. And then if you think about it, if they're spending that much effort changing their physical appearance, how much are they monitoring their own behavior because they're afraid of what boys think of them? And this monitoring of behavior can manifest itself in the classroom by not participating, not raising their hand, because they're afraid of appearing too dumb or too smart, or they just don't want to look like they care because it's a lot cooler to be jaded and not into academics. So all girls schools can curb this drop in self-esteem by providing a nurturing environment during these years at which girls' confidence is most vulnerable. A founder of a girls' school, Diane Meehan, she wrote about this here, or she summarized it, saying that away from the distraction of trying to attract the other sex, girls are free to define themselves as other than objects of male sexual fantasy. Encouraged by a school climate that urges them to be intellectually curious and disciplined, they can be smart. And if you ask any girls who went to an all-girls school how they cared about what their physical appearance, they'll probably tell you they did not care at all because they didn't have any boys they were trying to impress. And another founder of all-girls school, Ilana DeBear, drew this conclusion when she found the same thing, that girls really were much more comfortable with their bodies and their physical appearance, and said that when their worries about their appearance are gone, girls are able to focus on more important things like academics. So in the same way that girls don't feel pressure to impress boys with their physical appearance, girls also don't feel pressure to impress them with their behavior. And in this environment, they can speak up more easily, they can take more risks, and they can be themselves, which all builds toward a future where girls are empowered and know that they can be anything they want to be when they grow up, thus closing the gender gap in careers. And now, lastly, I'm going to touch on how, by providing a girl-centered education, all girls schools will help close the gender gap, because this is needed in our society. And so one of the key findings that I mentioned from the AAUW survey earlier was that women were underrepresented in school textbooks and curriculum. Teacher behavior tended to favor boys, and girls lagged seriously behind boys in math and in science, which are all just examples of how this gender bias affects students in the classroom. And as long as society continues to fuel these gender biases about which careers are appropriate for men and which careers are appropriate for women, females are going to continue to bear the brunt of this gender bias. There was a recent study that showed that, recent as in this year, that the science faculty at a prestigious university had gender biases that favored male students when they were hiring lab managers. And so if this exists among professors, what kinds of biases are elementary school and middle school and high school teachers expressing towards students that is affecting what they think of themselves and how they view their own potential? At all girls schools, girls are the only focus. There are no boys for whom teachers to express a bias towards, and instead of simply having to hope for your child to get a teacher in a co-ed school who will support your daughter, because obviously there are really great teachers in the co-ed schools who know about this and will support girls just as much as boys, but instead of just having to hope for that, you know in an all-girls school that is the mission of that school, and girls empowerment, and they're going to be told from day one that there's no reason that they can't be anything that a boy can be, such as scientists or anything. And another reason for this professional gender gap might be that there is a lack of female role models in STEM fields. And you might reflect on your school experience and realize that coeducational curriculums tend to skip over teaching about powerful female historical figures just because they're not as famous, because gender biases have existed all throughout history. And heroes of the past have always been role models for children of today. So studying the talented and intelligent women who have impacted history alongside their more famous male counterparts can inspire more girls to want to make a difference in their futures. If the only people who these girls ever study are men growing up, what kind of message is that sending about female potential? All girls schools address this problem through their very nature and their mission to empower girls. So I really wish that I had gotten to share more research with you, but for now I hope I've at least gotten you to think about how important it is to close the gender gap that exists in education and careers. And And especially during the years that girls have lowest self-esteem, it's important to do everything that we can so they know they can be anything they want to be when they grow up. My research has demonstrated to me that educating them in a single-sex environment can help to establish these goals. Thank you. Achieve these goals.